welcome back to my channel, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be using my TBR prompt jar to choose my September TBR. Here's how I did with my TBR in August. I actually only ended up reading one book of my TBR last month, so hopefully I do a better job at sticking to my TBR in September. Either way, I did make a new jar of TBR prompts, so there's lots of new and exciting prompts in here. I think I'm gonna pull 5 for the month of September, and I'm hoping for a good mix of like my fall TBR and then a couple of like summer reads and a couple of literary fictions. I've been really into literary fiction lately, so hopefully I get a good mix of kind of everything on my TBR. Either way, let's go ahead and pull the first prompt for September's TBR. Okay, the first prompt we got is a first book in a series. I feel like I have a lot of like first books for series, so I'm gonna pick out a couple of options and then we can decide together. The 3 options I chose for this first prompt is Legendborn, An Ember in the Ashes, and Six of Crows. These are actually all YA fantasies and they're all the first book in a new series. So I don't really know which one I want to start. I know I've had Six of Crows on my TBR for the longest, and I've heard really good things about the series. I feel like everybody who reads this book, it's like a 5-star book for them. This one is a YA heist type of fantasy, and then this one's more like a Roman Empire type of fantasy, and then this one I believe has like dark academia, secret societies, like that type of magic. So I don't know which one I want to start, because once I start it, I know I'm going to want to read, like, continue that series. I'm kind of leaning more towards Six of Crows, just because I've heard so many good things about it. I also feel like we're coming up onto fall, and I feel like Six of Crows is the perfect fall read. So I'm going to go with Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo for the first prompt. Okay, now let's do my second prompt. A second chance romance. Okay, I don't know if I own any second chance romance books, to be honest. If I don't, I'm just gonna be pulling up a Kindle Unlimited read and using that as a book for the prompt. But I'm gonna take a look at my bookshelves and see if I have a second chance romance. I actually only have one second chance romance, and that is The Roughest Draft. I don't even know if this counts as a second chance romance, but on the back it says they were co-writing literary darlings until they hit a plot hole that turned their lives upside down. And then I think they like come back together and like have to write another story together or something. I don't know, I think that counts as a second chance, and it sounds really good. I love reading about like writers and readers. So I've also had this one on my TBR for a very long time, and it kind of matches that summery theme I'm going for. So I'm gonna go with The Roughest Draft for a second chance romance. And then third prompt. A book set on an island. Okay, that could be really fun. I'm gonna take a gander and see if I have any books that are set on an island. I have a couple that come to mind, but I'm gonna double check. Is Nantucket an island? I don't think it is. I don't know. Okay, the book I'm going with for a book set on an island is The Tress of an Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And I'm going with this book specifically because on the back it says the word island. It says the only life Tress has known on her island home in an emerald green ocean has been a simple one, with the simple pleasures of collecting cups brought by sailors from faraway lands and listening to stories told by her friend Charlie. So that sounds really fun, and it also kind of looks like a fairy tale type of fantasy. I've really been wanting to jump into Brandon Sanderson's work, but I feel like his world of books is just so huge that I haven't known where to start. But I believe this is a standalone book, so I feel like it's safe to read this one without having to read like any of his other books. So for a book set on an island, I'm gonna go with Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And then on to our fourth prompt. A book that starts with the last letter of previous read. Oh my gosh, what's the last book I read? The last book I read was Remarkably Bright Creatures, so I need to find a book that starts with the letter R. have two options for a book that starts with the letter R. First, I have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I believe this is more like a sci-fi fantasy, and I already have a couple of fantasy books on my September TBR, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this one back. And then I have Rebecca, which I believe is a classic about like a young woman who gets married to a guy that she barely knows. All I really know about this book is that the song Tolerate It by Taylor Swift is based on this novel, and I absolutely love that song. I love the story to that song, and ever since I figured out that it was based on this book, I've been wanting to pick this book up ever since. So I think for a book that starts with the first letter of the last book that I read, I'm gonna go with Rebecca. Okay, let's go ahead and do our last prompt for September's TBR. I'm only doing 5 books on my TBR because I feel like if I do any more than that, I will be more likely to neglect my TBR again. So for our last prompt for September's TBR, we got a book over 500 pages. I feel like I have a lot of books over 500 pages, so I will be right back. Okay, I have Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This one is just under 500 pages. That one is $4.79. I have Beartown by Frederick Bachman. This one is just barely over 400 pages. I thought I had a lot more books that were over 500 pages. I have The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna, which I think may be over 500 pages. Yeah, this one is 545 pages. This one is set in Alaska in 1974, and I just love the way that Kristen Hanna tells a story, so I'm gonna go with this one for a book that is over 500 pages. Okay, so here are the 5 books on my September TBR. I'm definitely feeling a lot better about September's TBR than I did about August's TBR. A lot of these books are like highly anticipated reads for me, so I really want to make them a priority in September. Obviously, that's why they're on my TBR. But if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on any of these, make sure you are following along on TikTok, Goodreads, and subscribed here on YouTube so that you can hear my thoughts and my reactions and reviews to these books. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!